Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon. My name is Paul Bennett, and we are glad you are here with us this morning as we continue exploring our April Soul Matters theme of embracing possibility. We are an inclusive community that affirms the mind, heart, and body in our search for truth and meaning. Here you will find both comfort and challenge for your spiritual journey. We offer a special welcome to all of those gathered on Zoom this morning. If you are new, we invite you to put your name in the chat. Whatever your age, income, housing, or the color of your skin, or the color of your hair, or lack of, you're welcome here. Whatever your sexual orientation, gender identity, or life story, you are welcome here. If your heart is full of joy, or if it feels heavy this morning, you are welcome here. Last week, Scott talked about the difficulty of choosing toothpaste. If you always buy the most expensive brand because you think that's going to do the best job, you are welcome here. But if you brush your teeth with Arm & Hammer baking soda because you know that it's not the toothpaste, but it's the amount of brushing you do and the care you take in flossing, you are welcome here. If you start your day each day with the Wordle game, and you always start with the same word, heart, you are welcome here. And if you find that when you start with the word heart, that all the letters are correct, but it's not the right word, and you look at that word and you think, what other words are there in heart? And you see the word ear, and hear, and art, and then it dawns on you. What word has all 5 of those letters? The word is earth. And you get it on your second try. You are ready to start the day. Wherever you are, from whatever your faith, theist, atheist, agnostic, drawn to any of the world religions, or seeking your own path, you are welcome here. In this current cultural division, if your beliefs different from mine, but you are called to love, you are welcome here. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Anna Arbetter, and my daughter Iris is lighting the chalice for us today. Our chalice lighting words are from Eric Williams. In the beginning, there was light, infinite and expansive, flowing out from an unseen center. Throughout creation, there is light from the steady sun, the glowing moon, the flashing meteor, the twinkling stars, and the auroras dancing in the northern skies. Within each part of creation, there is light, slowed down and held close by every cell and molecule, by each atom and element. Within you, there is light, the same light as the source, the same radiance that is in all creatures. May this small flame be a constant reminder to you of your true nature and your kinship with all beings. Thank you for these words, Eric Williams.
Thank you. We will now have our chalice response and our Spirit of Life song. If you are uncomfortable with doing sign language, you are welcome here. But if you want to learn a new language and you enjoy following Kim, please do. You are most welcome here. Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea.
Good morning. My name is Amy Brock, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth, and it is time for our Time for All Ages. So if you are young or young at heart, we invite you to find your way to the rug for our story this morning.
You can do it.
This month we've been exploring possibility. Is there anything that makes you think about possibility? What? Yeah, when possibility kind of means like something that could happen, but we're not really sure. Maybe, maybe not. When I think about possibility, I think about things where there's lots of different variables. There's lots of different things that could happen. And one of those things is nature. And I think Joel's going to share some things about nature with us today.
Who's heard of the word nature before? Everyone? Iris, you've heard of the word nature, haven't you? So when you think of the word nature, what comes to mind? An iris flower. That's beautiful. What else?
A chicken.
I knew you were going to say chicken.
It is part of nature.
You love chickens? Okay. What else? Trees. Okay. That's good. What else? Water. Anybody else? Jackson, do you got anything? No? Okay. Well, I have some cool things in this bag. And we're going to talk about whether these feel natural to you. Does this seem like nature to you? This pine cone?
I think so.
Does that seem like, is that nature? Yeah, you can come up, Jax. Come on. Let's see here. We've got, what else do we have in this cool bag here? What about this flower?
Ooh.
Well, Jackson picked it this morning, so I think it's real.
It's real.
What kind of flower is it?
Right out of our garden.
I have no idea what
No
kind
idea.
of flower this is.
It's a pretty purple flower.
Yeah.
How about this cool pumpkin? Is this is that natural? Yeah? How about this frisbee?
Oh.
Is that natural? What if it's flying through the air? Is it natural if it's flying through the air?
Technically yes, but also no, because everything is made by nature. Technically.
That's a deep
Ooh.
insight, Iris. Good
Is
job.
it nature if it's made by nature?
No.
How about this ball of yarn? Is that natural?
But no. Yes. No.
Yes, but no. Okay.
What about
I think so.
This is made of
What about this
nature.
book?
Paper is made out of trees.
Paper's
So
made
these
out
are
of
nature.
trees. Yarn is made out of wool or cotton usually.
How about a cordless drill? Is that nature?
No.
Yes, it is. Okay. All right.
But no. What about this?
Ooh.
What about this geode here? How
do you think?
about this cool piece of art that Jackson made?
Ooh.
Is that natural? Is that nature?
The paper
The paper might be.
glass is natural, but
What about the art? What about the idea behind the art? Is that natural?
yeah. People.
Maybe.
People are natural.
People are natural.
All right, now,
There's people in it.
I
and
want
the people
everybody
are
to look.
natural. Okay.
Everybody, why don't you look at someone next to you? Look at someone next to you. I'm going to look at Jackson here. Look at me. Is that natural? Is the person that you're looking at, is that natural? Is it? You kind of think so? Why?
Sure.
Iris says everything and everyone is natural in a way. I think that's pretty cool.
This thingy, is that natural? Yes, but no. Why?
All right. So,
Yeah.
no, we're done. We're done, Jax.
Is that
I know
all
there's
that's
more
in there?
things, but we're out of time.
Oh. Well, we're going to explore this more in our different spaces today. But before we go, I think we have to say something. What do we have to say before we go to RE? I can't remember. Do you remember? In our covenant. Let's say it together. Ready? Okay. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved. Please rise and form the arch as we send our friends to RE.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
Laura will now give the announcements.
Hello. My name is Laura Pitney, and I am the engagement coordinator here at UUFCO. As some of you may have noticed, sometimes I like to repeat something that has been said earlier as a reminder to us, and also because it ties in sometimes to me describing things that are coming up. So I'm going to repeat something that Anna said in our chalice reading. It was, "Within you there is light, the same light as the source, the same radiance that is in all creatures. May this small flame be a constant reminder to you of your true nature and your kinship with all beings." So, as I have said before, a lot of the things that we do here at UUFCO are to remind us of that and bring us together and build connection and build community and help us also find that small, still voice within us that is part of all things. After service today, we'll be having a gathering in Linus Pauling, which is the art gallery just outside the doors here on the left. It's called A Taste of Soul. And this is an opportunity for you to experiment with what it is like to be in a small group. We have small groups that gather once a month from September until June. It's the same group of people every single month, and you explore the theme of the month. So like this month, it's possibility, embracing possibility. What does it mean to embrace possibility? So you get together and you explore the information that is distributed at the beginning of the month on that theme. It's a very deep and contemplative practice shared with other people. And if this is something that feels curious, uncomfortable, perhaps exciting, maybe terrifying, and you'd like to try it out, join us. After service today, it's going to be about an hour, hour and a half. We'll have some snacks so you don't perish before the end. And if you're interested, then you'll have an opportunity to sign up. I'm going to open signups in May. So even if you're like, I already know all about Soul Matters, then put that date in your mind. We're going to open signups in May so that you all can be ready to go in September. Let's see. Oh, other things that are happening that are related to who we each are and what it is that we yearn for in the life that we live. We will be having another Membership Matters class series. So if you've been curious, what is it like to be a member at UUFCO? You don't have to become a member at the end of the class series. It's a great chance to learn more about what Unitarian Universalism is, to learn more about what it is that we do specifically in this fellowship. And if at the end you're like, why would I do anything other than become a member? You can, but you don't have to. And so we're going to begin that in May 13th and 20th. May 3rd, coming up, that's what, in 2-3 weeks? There will be a gathering for all parents and caregivers. So tune in your ears to this. If you have a young person who participates here at this fellowship, or maybe they could participate, but you haven't been sure whether you want that, we're going to be doing a meeting of all parents and caregivers on May 3rd after service. It's a chance to learn about what happened this year, what we might do next year, to ask questions, to engage with one another, and plan for the next year. And there'll be a picnic. So again, no perishing. Deep connection, it's really important for us as we build community that we have deep bonds with one another because it supports everything that we do, right? The more deeply connected you feel, the more invested you are, the more you work things out when it gets hard. So the women's connections just had a gathering on this past Friday and Saturday. The men are doing a gathering this upcoming Friday and Saturday, and I highly encourage you to register for that. And you can do so at the kiosk. Oh, and there's camping available for that if you're interested. You can stay over the night, that's really cool. Last thing, if you are interested in learning about the possibility of there being a universal health care plan here in Oregon, or if you've heard about it and you're like, that is craziness, go talk to Nick and others in the back. At the end of service, they have a table at the gathering hall. They're part of an organization called Health Care for All, and they are here to answer your questions, to dialogue with you, and you can pick up information about an upcoming town hall where you can engage with Phil Chang and others about this possible legislation, and obviously an important issue for all of us, so check that out. That is the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. There's so much that goes on here. It's sometimes when people ask me, what does it mean to be a Unitarian? I don't know where to start because we do so many things here. We'll now talk about the offering. We're grateful for you. It is good to be together and see what the day brings. Life is abundant in every moment. This place is alive because of your generosity, the ways you care and the ways you share. We gratefully invite our offering this morning and know that the resources shared will be part of bringing love to life. The house band will perform while we have our offering, and they will be playing Beautiful Dawn by the Wailing Jennies.
Take me to the breaking of a beautiful dawn. Take me to the place where we come from. Take me to the end so I can see the start. There's only one way to mend a broken heart. Take me to the place where I don't feel so small. Take me where I don't need to stand so tall. Take me to the edge so that I can fall apart. There's only one way to make a broken heart. Take me where the love isn't up for sale. Take me where our hearts are not so frail. Take me where the fire still owns its spark. There's only one way to make a broken heart. Teach me how to see when I close my eyes. Teach me to forgive and to apologize. Show me how to love in the darkest hours. There's only one way to mend a broken heart. Take me where the angels are close at hand. Take me where the oceans meets the sky and the land. Show me the wisdom of the evening star. There's only one way to mend a broken heart. Take me to the place where I feel no shame. Take me where the courage doesn't need a name. Learning how to cry is the hardest part. There's only one way to mend a broken heart.
Thank you very much for playing that, house band. You sounded great. We'll now have our joys and sorrows and gratitudes. We are a living community experiencing life together. In each of our lives, we experience up and downs, zigzags and whatever, high points, low points, and all points in between. We now enter a time of sharing our joys, sorrows, and gratitude in community. Anyone is free to light a candle in one of the trays alongside the sanctuary during this time while I read the written joys, sorrows, and gratitudes. These are located in the kiosk each week, so you are welcome to fill these out. So I'll start with reading those. From Grace Kennedy, thank you a million times to Laura and Mary Beth, for the soul-nourishing women's retreat this weekend. It was beautiful, fulfilling, and buzzing with connections. From Marilyn Formica, sorrow that I fell and broke my wrist and patella. Joy and immense gratitude that I am healing very well. This whole experience for me has been to appreciate all the good in life and in my life, and to give thanks for all the wonder in the world and for all the love and care that has been shown to me by you and all and everyone. Thankfully, I've been in very little pain even after wrist surgery. My return to Bend this spring will be delayed, but I so look forward to being with all of you. This is from Laura Pitney. I am overflowing with joy today for the 40-some women who gathered here Friday and Saturday to spend time together in a mini retreat. It was so meaningful to witness the connections that you all created through your authentic and sincere participation. I loved being with you in silence, in song, and to be part of creating such a special moment that wasn't only for those of us who attended, but for our vision for the wider world. And I am enormously grateful for the generous support from so many people leading up to and during our gathering, and a huge thanks to Mary Elizabeth Rice, who partnered with me to make this happen. From Liz Dougherty, it is my great joy to have my friends Jennifer and Henry visiting today from Missoula, Montana. Welcome. This says don't read if someone close. So, okay. I'm not sure if I should read this or not. All right. As our dear friend Lynn Eggstrom is struggling in health problems, it's wondering that so many have pitched in to help, especially organizers Jenny McKee and Christy Haig. Yeah. From Reed Chamberlain, so much gratitude for Laura Pitney and Mary Elizabeth and all the women who created and contributed to the women's retreat. It was such a rich experience. From Carolyn Tate, we are used due to choice, not obligation. Over the weekend, 45 women chose to deepen their relationships, meet new folks, and explore their purpose. It was a joy. Much gratitude to Laura P. and Mary Elizabeth for all the volunteers who made it happen. Sounds like it was quite the weekend. Then Ben Morgan, thank you, Leora, for helping to declutter and organize my kitchen and pantry. I need her to come to our house. Heather McNeil, 3 cheers for Laura and Mary Elizabeth. They put together a lovely and supportive women's retreat that was beyond expectations. Thank you and hip hip hooray. And the last here, a joy for the meaningful and transformative experience at the Feed the Hive and Harvest the Honey Women's Spring Gathering yesterday. It was awesome. Oh, another one. A gratitude, special thanks to Mary Elizabeth and Laura Pitney for offering us infinite opportunities for embracing possibilities and spreading seeds and kindness for ourselves and others. Nice handwriting, all of them. They're all legible. It's very important. In good times and in difficult times, in times when we are grateful and in times when we are hurting, it is good to be with one another in community.
So I invite you to join me for a pine cone themed guided meditation, followed by a period of short silence. If you want to join me, that's cool. If you want to do your own thing, that's fine also. So I will let everybody feel comfortable, sit in your seat, close your eyes, and I'd like everybody to envision your favorite water hole in the Deschutes River. So I want you to imagine the breeze blowing the warm spring air on your body and hear the ripple of the river floating by, maybe a kayaker or a stand-up paddleboarder, maybe a pine cone floating through the river. Now I want you to think about something that's preoccupying you. It could be a good thing or a bad thing, something you're looking forward to, something that you're nervous about, the war in Iran, something about your job. And I want you to think about that as a pine cone and toss it into the river. Let it float away. And then if another thought comes up, maybe the same thought or a new thought, imagine it as a pine cone and toss it into the river and let it float away. Rinse and repeat.
All that I have is a river. The river is always my home. Lord, take me away, for I just cannot stay, or I sink in my skin and my bones. The water sustains me without ease. Please help me build a small boat, one that will ride on the flow, where the river runs deep and the larger fish creep. I'm glad of what keeps me afloat. The water sustains me without even trying. The water can't drown me. I'm done with my dying. Now the deeper the water I sail, and the faster the current I'm in. But each night brings the stars, and the song in my heart is a tune for the journeyman's tale. The water sustains me without even trying. The water can't drown me. I'm done with my dying. Now the land that I knew is a dream, and the line on the distance grows faint. So wide is my river, the horizons are sliver. The artist has run out of pain. Where the blue of the sea meets the sky, and the big yellow sun leads me home. I'm everywhere now, and the way is a vow to the wind of each breath by and by. The water sustains me without even trying. The water can't drown me. I'm done with my dying.
David Reeves, everybody. So I get to do the sermon today, and I was raised by two United Methodist pastors who are sitting right over there, John and Debbie Pitney. My mother was a 10-minute preacher, and my dad is a 20-minute preacher, so I'm going to try and split the difference. So you guys have probably been picking up on the nature theme. I know it's embracing possibility, but birthday is on Wednesday, I think, Tuesday, Wednesday, April 22nd, so I couldn't help but talk about that today. So that's what the theme of today's message is. This past summer, my family and I had the privilege of going on a 5-day whitewater rafting trip on the John Day River in eastern Oregon. Anybody ever been on the John Day before? Nice. So if you haven't been, you should definitely check it out. It's one of the treasures of our state. It's the longest free-flowing river in Oregon, and it runs all the way from the Blue Mountains to the Columbia River. And along the way, it cuts through some serious bedrock, which is what makes it so awesome for whitewater rafting. It carves a deep channel through a 3-mile thick layer of volcanic rock that was spewed out across the entire Pacific Northwest during the Columbia River basalt flows 14 million years ago. And the resulting canyons are some of the most beautiful on earth. The best way to see those canyons is floating along the river with your family and friends on a raft looking up at the 1,600-foot high jagged peaks above. So this particular trip was a group of former raft guides like myself. I was a whitewater raft guide in college who kind of gave it all up And then we went about with our lives, and then we had kids. We all had young kids, and we said, we got to get our kids into whitewater rafting. So we got this group together. And before we set out, we decided to do a little sharing circle and talk about our intentions for the week ahead. My intention was to get in touch with river time. So giving yourself over to river time is what many might consider to be a kind of religious experience. It's when you surrender to the river, its pathway through the bedrock, its pace of flow, and the way it navigates any obstacles that comes its way. The river has its own agenda. And when you let it take over, a lot of the anxiety that you're feeling tends to melt away like juniper pollen on the surface of a stream. So, only 2 days into the trip, I hit my goal. As I sat there in the campsite, surrounded by these beautiful juniper trees, and I sipped my luxurious cup of wilderness brewed coffee, and I looked up at the reddish gold canyon walls above that were buttressing the sharp bend of the river as they started to light up with the morning sun, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Less than 48 hours after we'd set out, I'd fully surrendered to the river way of living. I took in the scene around me, and everything seemed to be in its place. Everything was in harmony. The call of the canyon wren, the way that the little bumblebees were flitting from wildflower to wildflower, the mesmerizing ripple of the river as it made its way around the bend. I was grooving. I was experiencing what I like to call a nature grooving experience. Nature grooving. And it wasn't my first. I've experienced this a lot during my life. I remember climbing to the top of a mountain somewhere in the Sawtooth wilderness of central Idaho on an adventure camp with my church. And I looked out at the peaks that seemed to go on forever, and I was like, wow, this must be what they mean by God. Or there was the time where I took a lunch break from my summer job at Jill Kohler's organic potato farm on the fertile alluvial plain of Idaho's central Treasure Valley. And I was eating my turkey sandwich and sitting on the edge of this pond that Jill had dug into this dry earth with a backhoe. And I was marveling at the complex ecosystem that was created seemingly out of nowhere when given just the slightest bit of encouragement. Dragonflies moving from cattail to cattail, fish rising up to grab a bug off the surface of the water. Or there was my trip to the headwaters of India's Ganges River, way up in the Himalayas. And I remember standing on a rock in the middle of what was at that point a stream, at the precise point where it came out from a gigantic glacier. And I stood there with my back to the glacier looking downstream at what seemed like all of creation. And I realized why the yogis for millennia had talked about Mother Ganga as being the source of creation. So, I'm a seasoned nature groover. I actually stole that term from a college professor of mine named Ashton B. Nichols, Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And I took a course from him called Romantic Nature Writing. In that course, he took us on a brief tour of the nature groovers throughout history. These were people like philosophers, writers, poets, who had all taken up the practice of going out into the wilds, the woods, the deserts, the waters, and as he put it, grooving on nature, man. And he would do that. He would go grooving on nature. So nature grooving, by his definition, started with a group of romantic poets who were rebelling against the Industrial Revolution in 18th century England. These are people like William Blake, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, William Wordsworth, and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. These groovers were discovering the value of nature in stark contrast to the increasingly mechanized and polluted environment of London at the time. They were grooving poetically in the woods and the countrysides outside the crowded cities. When William Wordsworth invited his readers to, quote, "Come forth into the light of things, let nature be thy teacher," he was rebelling against the dominant worldview of the era, which saw nature as something to be subdued or controlled. In his most famous poem, he writes, "The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon." So that might sound like a quaint little nature poem, but it was actually pretty revolutionary at the time. Nature to Wordsworth and his fellow romantics was not something dangerous and wild to be tamed or to have dominion over, as the church would say. It wasn't a resource to be exploited or controlled. It was a sanctuary for grooving. Not to be outdone, the transcendentalists across the pond in New England, they were taking nature grooving to a whole new level. Primary among them was, of course, Henry David Thoreau, the man. His essay, Walden or Life in the Woods, is considered by many to be the foundational text of the modern environmental movement. In the same decade that hundreds of thousands of miners and trappers and Oregon Trail pioneers like my own Pitney ancestors were heading across the continent to tame the wilderness and build heaven on earth under the banner of manifest destiny, Thoreau is making a case for the inherent value of nature, suggesting that, quote, in wildness is the preservation of the world. So I didn't grow up on any of those older nature groovers. I actually couldn't understand them. I tried to read Emerson and Walt Whitman in college, and I just didn't make any sense to me. So my grooving was introduced by my father. He introduced me to a bunch of writers, and that kind of got me going. I read Aldo Leopold, I read Wendell Berry, I read Terry Tempest Williams, but my personal favorites were Edward Abbey in his book Desert Solitaire and Annie Dillard in her book A Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. So if you haven't read Desert Solitaire, you absolutely should. It recounts Edward Abbey's years working in southern Utah's Arches National Park as a park ranger. He was living alone and practicing what he called a hard and brutal mysticism, trying to get to the essence of things and revealing the paradox and bedrock of reality. Annie Dillard offered her own take on what living in the wild can reveal about the true nature of things in Pilgrim at Tinker Creek, which won the Pulitzer Prize for Literature in 1975. She left the city to spend a year living in a cabin on an idyllic little creek in Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains. And she wrote what she swears was not a book of nature writing. It definitely was. She actually called it a book of theology, and in the following passage you can understand why. Quote, self-consciousness is the curse of the city, and all that sophistication implies. It is the glimpse of oneself in a storefront window, the unbidden awareness of reactions on the faces of other people, the novelist's world, not the poet's. I've lived there. I remember what the city has to offer. Human companionship, Major League Baseball, and a clatter of quickening stimulus like a rush from strong drugs that leaves you drained. I remember how you bide your time in the city and think, if you stop to think at all, next year I'll start living. Next year I'll start my life. Innocence is a better world. Innocence sees that this is it and finds it world enough. What I call innocence is the spirit's unselfconscious state at any moment of pure devotion to any object. So back on the John Day River, I was having quite a moment of pure devotion to the objects around me, and I was experiencing a heavy dose of her innocence. After 2 full days abiding by river time, I was about as present in the moment as I could possibly be. And naturally, I started to ask the question, why don't we live this way all the time? Does this even have to end? But of course, as I started to answer the question, a familiar anxiety started to bubble up from below the surface of my nature grooving. I knew soon the trip would be over and I'd be returning to the human world of Zoom calls and oven-baked tater tots and crossover SUVs. Sure, Bend is about as natural as a city as it gets, right? But it's still a city. I was starting to fear that I'd lose touch with this more natural way of living when I returned home. I knew this feeling well, of course. It's one that I've tried to escape my whole life. It's why I became a river guide in my youth, hoping to never have to come home from the wild. I got a degree in environmental science. I even tried my hand at organic farming, hoping to develop a career where I could live in greater harmony with the earth. But it never really worked. And the truth is, we always have to come home in some way or another. Our humanness is inescapable. And yet, there's something inherently unhuman about the way we even use the word nature in the first place. In fact, nature is usually defined as the opposite of human. Think about it. So when you go out into nature, you're going to the places where there's no human development. We're getting away from human civilization. We're getting away from humans. Or when you go into the grocery store and you want to buy something that's naturally grown, you're trying to buy something that's had the least amount of meddling from human technology or innovation. Even my beloved nature groovers fell victim to the same paradox. They didn't see nature as something to be tamed or exploited or have dominion over. They saw it as something to be revered, but in that they still saw it as something separate. They saw nature as something that was a refuge outside of the cities, untouched by human technology and civilization. Thoreau's remote cabin in the woods in Walden was a 10-minute walk from downtown Cambridge, and he kept a chair in his cabin for the daily guests that came to come and visit him. Edward Abbey later admitted that he wasn't solitaire at all. He actually was living with a romantic partner who never made it into the book, conveniently. And in my favorite scene from Dillard's book, she dares the reader to go all the way in their nature romanticizing and try to live as naturally and unselfconsciously as the peaceful muskrat that she would observe on her daily walks along the creek. She writes, quote, "Let us all go have lobotomies and restore us to our natural state. We can leave the library then, go back to the creek lobotomized, and live on its banks as untroubled as any muskrat or reed. You first." So even the grooviest of groovers knew they couldn't totally go wild. They couldn't live without civilization. They couldn't eliminate themselves. Pure nature was more of a romantic ideal and one that doesn't really even exist outside the mind of the poet. In his 1989 book, The End of Nature, Bill McKibben suggested that thanks to climate change, pure nature no longer even exists anywhere on Earth. Or, as Jedediah Purdy wrote in his 2015 book, After Nature, which is definitely a follow-up to The End of Nature, quote, "The familiar divide between people and the natural world is no longer useful or accurate. Because we shape everything, from the upper atmosphere to the deep seas, there is no more nature that stands apart from human beings. There is no place or living thing that we haven't changed. Our mark is on the cycle of the weather and the seasons, the global map of bioregions, and even the DNA that organizes matter into life. It makes no sense now to honor and preserve a nature that is defined by being not human, that is purest in wilderness, rainforests, and the ocean. Instead, in a world we can't help shaping, the question is, what will we shape?" So this is the part of the sermon where things are a little bit depressing. It feels a little hopeless. Sure, we can go out into nature for inspiration, but if that wildness is fundamentally at odds with who we are as humans, then what hope do we have of living in harmony with it? If nature's gone, then there's no one we can trust to take care of us. As Stuart Brand wrote in the inaugural issue of Whole Earth Catalog in 1968, we are as gods and might as well get good at it. So I don't know about you, but there's something empty and a little bit scary about that. That somehow nature is over, that pure nature, that it's not really real. And as I stood there on the John Day River that morning, I was starting to feel that emptiness start to creep in. My nature groove and staying in it felt like a fleeting fantasy. But then, just as I worked myself up into an existential tizzy, I remembered advice I heard years ago from perhaps my favorite nature groover of all time. His name's Michael Zimmerman, and he's a professor of philosophy at University of Colorado at Boulder. During a talk, I heard him say something that's always stuck with me. He said, "We are not in nature, she's in us." Nature isn't something out there, it's in here. We're not looking out at nature like we're looking at those ponderosa pines outside the beautiful sanctuary windows. We are cells within the body of nature. Nature's driving the blood flowing through our veins and the nutrients passing across our cell walls. And isn't there a natural feeling when we all sing together in harmony like we did today? There's also that feeling of connections in our minds and hearts and souls when we perceive that natural beauty. Isn't that happening in the eye of the beholder? To me, this is a far more useful way to understand nature than seeing it as somehow separate from us. And remembering it started to help me get my John Day groove back. What if the nature grooving insights that I was experiencing out there in the wilds, far away from a world too much with us, were actually coming from the deepest part of me? I might have needed to let everything go for 5 days and float down a river to connect with the deeper flow of life, of course. But I'm convinced that whatever we discover when we're immersed in the wilderness doesn't live only in the wilderness. It's inside us, and it's something that we can carry with us in every aspect of our lives. From that perspective, living more naturally is actually within reach, whatever that means. It's both possible to be natural and human. So is recognizing this, that nature's inside of us, going to solve climate change? Of course it will. Easy, right? I'm just kidding. But I don't think that we can find any kind of true ecological harmony without dissolving this false dichotomy to some degree. We humans are here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future, and our impact is inevitable. So I think the solutions, as complicated as they may be, probably start at least partially by turning inward to ourselves and our human ways of living to find more natural ways to be. I think we'll get further this way than just trying to be less human or trying to escape our human creations. We're not in nature, she's in us. So I want to close today by taking the same excerpt from the chalice reading that my wife coincidentally also chose for the announcements. They were written by Eric Williams, who may or may not be a nature groover. Within you there is light, the same light as the source, the same radiance that is in all creatures. May this small flame be a constant reminder to you of your true nature and your kinship with all beings.
Thank you, Joel. I have also rafted down the John Day River. I did a 3-day rafting trip a couple of years back, and I really felt I traveled through time. And time is an interesting thing. Sometimes we just feel like we're just, we day by day, we just get a little older, and that seems to be it. But, we have these experiences that show us that time is a very three-dimensional thing. And I'm sure each one of you have had experiences in travel that are quite unique to you, that have widened your experience of life, and I'm eager to hear of those. I think if we're curious about others and we ask questions, we learn a lot from one another, and that also helps to enrich our own lives. Next, we will have the house band performing Blue Boat Home.
And please join us in singing along. You're welcome to stand or stay seated. Yep. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on the mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or porch have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the casting questions into the deep. Holding her with my ship's companions, all my kindred pilgrim souls, making our way on the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home.
Can we have a little bit more guitar?
I give thanks to the winds upholding me. Hail the great winds urging me on. Great the infinite sea before me. Sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, neither harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
And the earth
It's my blue boat home.
Thanks, everybody.
You may sit down. We invite everyone to join us for coffee hour after our service. We encourage you to reach out and say hello to someone new today. Will you please remain, oh, now it says, really, please remain standing. I get it. Now I see it. They should have that paragraph at the beginning there. Okay. Join me in the unison reading of our covenant, the promise that we make to one another as we extinguish the chalice. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Know that the word heart and the word earth share the same letters. They're not the same word, but they have